We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson shocked the world by saying that he is coming back to the airwaves, but he's doing it on Elon Musk's Twitter. Now, what does this mean for the big box media? Is it the death knell of the legacy outlet? Scott, thanks for coming back with us. What's your take on the big Tucker Carlson move?
Well, firstly, I'm welcoming him to a platform that LibertyNation.com and the Uprising podcast, which I host, have been on, well before Tucker's coming on board, and we're happy to have him. I think that's the first and big message for us, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do follow the Uprising podcast on Twitter, because Scott is the one guy who can't let a fact check go.
This is true. Yeah, I think it's great. I actually thought before it happened, this would seem like a natural push for him. I know that Musk has been pushing Twitter video capabilities quite a bit. I actually thought previously that he was going to take a run at YouTube. It seems like a natural thing there. If you build in a ton of video capacity for Twitter, why not make it, a video platform as well? Once you remove the kind of short video restriction, seems like a natural.
It does. You see, the thing is, you have your regular news programs, your regular TV things, but they kind of run, unless you like DVR or something, or TiVo, I think it's called nowadays, then you're kind of on somebody else's pattern. But if they're always available within a Twitter feed, if the programs you want to watch, you can literally watch them at any time from a handheld device if you want. And I think that's quite a unique way of delivering news. And if Tucker seems to succeed there, and I think he probably will, he does have an audience. A built-in audience.
Everybody's already on Twitter. That's the thing.
They already are.
If we got $1 billion worth of financing tomorrow, Mark, to start a new social media network, and I'm not going to discourage any capital financiers out there from writing that check. But
we are accepting checks and donations of bottles of fine scotch.
Right, yeah, exactly. I was going to make a joke, but I'll leave it there. But we would have a perhaps insurmountable and uphill battle just to get the user base to even make headway. But Twitter already has it, so it seems like a natural fit there. Now, Tucker had been, it had been speculated on that he maybe wanted to make the move but couldn't because of his non-compete. And then, according to some exclusive reporting by Axios this week, we learned that Tucker is actually alleging that Fox is in violation of their contract, which has allowed him, in responding to their breach, to basically cancel the contract, forgo the estimated, I think it was $20 million a year, I think I read, and go his own way.
So, sorry, just to clarify that, because we don't have access to the Carlson contract, but the non-compete presumably would it would continue to pay him some millions per year as long as he were not in competition with Fox News.
Not some, though, the full value of his contract. It wasn't like he was going to get a step down for not working. It was like, they'll pay him his full freight and go sit on a beach until after the presidential election in January of 2025, which is when reports indicate his contract expires.
But by the nature of Twitter being a social media platform, surely that would already mitigate the non-compete clause, wouldn't it?
Well, Tucker's position, as reported through his lawyers to Axios, is that because Fox breached the agreement, Tucker doesn't have to honor it. It's now null and void. And Tucker doesn't, as I understand it, expect payment going forward. But also he won't be held to restricting his work only to Fox News or nowhere, which I think was the position that Fox was maintaining, at least until earlier in the week.
Now, when Tucker was first released from Fox, he mentioned that in the initial video that pretty much went wild across all social media and regular media, where he said, you don't have honest debates, you don't have upfront debates about certain topics. So can we presume, I think we can presume, that it will be those topics that he mentioned that will be the meat of his new Twitter show? Now, I don't know about you, Scott. I mean, obviously, we're both big fans of the First Amendment here, but I think that having a platform where Elon Musk has been very loath to limit anything that isn't illegal, essentially. And to have somebody with Tucker's pull speaking on a platform that is not, as of yet, keen to censor, I think that's a big win for the First Amendment, isn't it? Well,
Elon
for
Musk,
free speech in general, I mean, rather than
Elon
illegal.
Musk said he bought Twitter to advance free speech, and Tucker has said he's moving to Twitter because it is the last and only, in his words, big platform that still celebrates free speech. So I have to agree wholeheartedly. There's one thing that you said that I will just a minor footnote of a correction, which is you said when Fox released him. And
Sure.
that's contractual language, and we're talking about his contract. So I want to say nowhere did Fox indicate that they released Mr. Carlson. They released him from the duty to record and submit his show every week, but not from the contract. And that's I'm going to suspect we'll be talking about that in the future as the fight continues.
Okay, Scott, I have two more questions for you on this particular topic. The first one's quite a short one, but I think, and I want to know if you agree with me on this, that although it hasn't been announced when Tucker's new show on Twitter will be coming out, my guess is that he puts it bang on 8 o'clock at the same time as his old show. What do you reckon?
That's when he made his first post cancellation announcement, and why not? Yes, I hope he does, Mark. I don't know that that's a prediction, but it's a wish.
Yeah, it's the prime slot. So anybody who's watching Tucker Carlson live on Twitter will not be watching the key advertiser demographic.
And not only that, for a daily show, if that's what it's going to be, that's a good time in terms of having the day's events establish themselves and then being able to get. I'm assuming he's going to get experts and guests like he had before, and to get that talked about and then wrapped up and submitted. It's about the right time of day. In other words, for that cycle to complete.
Very true. I mean, President Biden's been in bed for at least 6 hours by then. So now, how do you think this whole thing's going to play out for Tucker Carlson?
Well, I'll tell you the statement that was released to Axios. I mean, I don't know if Axios is talking to Tucker directly or his lawyer, but they've got a really great source based on the information they're publishing. And one of the things they talked about was wanting to secure the private messages of Fox's communications director, a woman whose name escapes me at the moment. But, Tucker's been run through the mill for having his text messages exposed. And the prospect of discovery where some of these other Fox executives who are on the inside right now to have their stuff exposed, I'm going to guess that Fox is going to want to avoid litigation in this area and come to an agreement with Tucker over money and his ability to work elsewhere.
All right, Scott, thanks for being here on this. Please do go and read Scott's assessment of this on the pages of libertynation.com. Scott DeCenza, thanks very much.
Thank you, Mark.
And that's just about all we have time for on this week's edition of Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio America Network. I'd like to thank our guests, longtime host of this here show, Tim Donner, and our Talking Liberty superstar, Mr. Scott DeCenza, Esquire. And let's not forget my appreciation to you, the listeners, for taking the time to tune in and join us. I'll leave you with a parting shot this week. When politics ceases to be about the search for a more perfect union, a hunt for a new Camelot, if you will, what we have left are power seekers. Now, perhaps they're noble in their own minds, and they believe that they will do good once all the power is seated within them. But that's the same as thinking that any means justify the end you desire. And what it creates are politicians who will persecute their opponents, engage in criminality, and lie as though their lives depended on it. And it's all because they believe that they alone can solve the ills of the world, not realizing that it's they themselves that are creating such societal disease. Power does indeed corrupt, but mostly only those with low moral characters to begin with. Thanks for listening. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5. Produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone. Hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner. Joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors. Deconstructing leftist narratives. Debating the hot topics. And remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe
You only
space.
did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5.